धस्य शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथां नितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। Hare Krishna. So actually today I drank too much water before coming to so I may have to go in between before only I will say. So you please don't take break. I may have to take more breaks for fasting. So we have finished till 20th 4/6/20. 4/6/20. So demigods have gone to Kailash, and the varieties of trees, animals, birds, plants, lakes are described. So that will continue for some more verses. 20th is over, I think. 21st we have to start with. So we'll recite together. कर्णान्त्रैकपदाश्वशैर्निर्जुष्टं वृकनाभिभिः कडलीकण्ठसमुद्रनलिनीपुलिनस्त्रियम्.
There are varieties of deer such as Karnantra, Ekapada, Ashwasya, Vrika, and Kasturi, the deer which bears musk. Besides the deer, there are many banana trees which decorate the small hillside lakes very nicely.
Next. पर्यस्तं नन्दया सत्या स्नानपुण्योत्रदया विलोक्य भूतेश गिरिं विबुधा विस्मयं ययौ.
There is a small lake named Alkananda in which Sati used to take her bath, and that lake is especially auspicious. All the demigods, after seeing the specific beauty of Kailasha hill, were struck with wonder at the great opulence to be found there.
Next. ददृष्टत्र ते रम्याम् अलकां नाम वै पुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं चापि यत्र तन्नाम पङ्कजम्.
Thus the demigod saw the wonderfully beautiful region known as Alka, in the forest known as Saugandhika, which means full of fragrance. The forest is known as Saugandhika because of its abundance of lotus flowers.
Hmm. So this Alakapuri, Prabhupada says, is not the abode of Kuvera, because that cannot be seen from Kailash. It is different, he says. Ahead. Alka referred here is different from Alkapuri of Kuvera. That name is also Alkapuri only of Kuvera, but this Alka is different. It will come ahead, I think. नन्दाचालकनन्दा च सरितौ भायतः पुरा तीर्थपादपदाम्भोज रजसाति तव पावने.
They also saw the two rivers named Nanda and Alakananda. These two rivers are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda.
ययो शूरस्त्रियाक्षत्तार् अवरुह्य स्वधिष्ण्यता क्रीडन्ति पुंसा सिञ्चन्त्यो विगाय रतिकर्षिता.
My dear Shata Vidura, the celestial damsels come down to those rivers in their airplanes with their husbands. And after sexual enjoyment, they enter the water and enjoy, sprinkling their husbands with water.
You can read the purport. Meanwhile, I will come with a break.
It is understood that even the damsels of the heavenly planets are polluted by thoughts of sex enjoyment. And therefore, they come in airplanes to bathe in the rivers Nanda and Alaknanda. It is significant that these rivers, Nanda and Alaknanda, are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, just as the Ganges is sacred because its water emanates from the toes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, so whenever water or anything is in touch with devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is purified and spiritualized. The rules and regulations of devotional service are based on this principle. Anything in touch with the lotus feet of the Lord is immediately freed from all material contamination. The damsels of the heavenly planets, polluted by thoughts of sex life, come down to bathe in the sanctified rivers and enjoy sprinkling water on their husbands. Two words are very significant in this connection. Rati karshitaha means that the damsels become morose after sex enjoyment. Although they accept sex enjoyment as a bodily demand, afterwards they are not happy. Another significant point is that Lord Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is described here as Tirtha Pad. Tirtha means sanctified place, and Pada means the lotus feet of the Lord. People go to a sanctified place to free themselves from all sinful reactions. In other words, those who are devoted to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, automatically become sanctified. Because under their protection, there are Haribol. The Lord's lotus feet are called Tirthapad because under their protection there are hundreds and thousands of saintly persons who sanctify the sacred places of pilgrimage. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, a great Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, advises us not to travel to different places of pilgrimage. Undoubtedly, it is troublesome to go from one place to another, but one who is intelligent can take shelter of the lotus feet of Govinda and thereby be automatically sanctified as a result of his pilgrimage. Anyone who is fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Govinda is called Tirtha Pada. He does not need to travel on various pilgrimages, for he can enjoy all the benefits of such travel simply by engaging in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a pure devotee who has implicit faith in the lotus feet of the Lord can create sacred places in any part of the world where he decides to remain. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. The places are sanctified due to the presence of pure devotees. Any place automatically becomes a place of pilgrimage if either the Lord or his pure devotee remains or resides there. In other words, such a pure devotee who is engaged 100% in the service of the Lord can remain anywhere in the universe, and that part of the universe immediately becomes a sacred place where he can peacefully render service to the Lord as the Lord desires.
Very good. So this will say Prabhupada writes there that the two words are very significant in this connection. Rati Karshita means that the damsels become moros after sex enjoyment. Although they accept sex enjoyment as a bodily demand, afterwards they are not happy. So, Gauram was telling that how this any kind of enjoyment, including sex enjoyment, actually it later doesn't give any happiness. So here the damsels, after that they are not so happy. They come there to take bath. So as an example, just like uh, we do Nirjala, Nirjala Ekadashi once in a year. So some of us do. I don't do, but when we do Nirjal, we fast from completely water and whole day we don't eat anything, we don't drink. Almost like we are so thirsty and hungry. And the next day, night we sleep and next day we get up and then we are waiting eagerly for the time, Parana Samay, when I will drink water. And then when we go, when the time comes 6 o'clock around something, Parana Samay is there and there is a huge line, a table is there and there is line for all the devotees who are taking, they serve khichdi and lemon juice, right? So, huh? Ginger water. So you have now done Nirjal. Now you are standing in the line, and the line is moving ahead. So what is your feeling when you see the counter of Nirjal? Huh? Again, Bajay is serving in charge. So generally when we see that juice is served, so what we feel is, I will drink the whole barrel. I will drink maybe 10 liters or like that. I am so thirsty, so thirsty. We feel like that. Everybody has experienced like that. And when we go and then we take the juice, in our glass or bottle, and then how much we can drink? 3 glasses. But how much we imagine? I will drink maybe whole barrel bucket. Whole bucket of juice I will drink, that's all. Nothing less than that. I want to drink whole bucket. But later, afterwards, we can drink only few glasses. So similarly, that is there with every kind of enjoyment, including sex. So actually, mind only hypes the enjoyment. So there is enjoyment only in anticipation in this material world. Kab milega mujhe sense object. And after you get, there is hardly any enjoyment in that. So the enjoyment is there only in the anticipation, waiting for that sense object. But after you get, there is hardly any enjoyment. You think, I'll so much enjoy, enjoy. In sex also, it's like that. But after it's done, then you feel they are not happy. Prabhupada is writing here. So even Badrinath Maharaj was telling about some place. He was in US and he was flying from New York to some island, Hawaii Island or somewhere. So in New York, at the airport, they had put one big board that if you go to Hawaii, there's a nice place, Hawaii, beautiful sun, trees, and hardly any people are there. You will enjoy. In New York, so many people around, everything. There you will enjoy so much, like that. Advertisement was there if you go to Hawaii. So he thought, okay, we'll go to Hawaii. From New York, he went to Hawaii, he flew to Hawaii, and he landed in Hawaii. When he went to Hawaii island, there's hardly anybody there, and there is only sea, you see sea around, and some trees, and you feel bored. And there was another billboard. Go to New York and enjoy. Such big city, so many facilities are there, enjoy. अरे मैं बोला उधर बोर्ड था इधर you will enjoy and there neither there is enjoyment in New York nor there is enjoyment in Hawaii and there is no enjoyment in between also. Only enjoyment is in the mind. अरे, if when I reach there I will enjoy so much. So in the material world enjoyment is there only in the anticipation, that's all. So mind hypes that I will enjoy so much. After you enjoy there is hardly any, there is pleasure. You don't enjoy when you get the sense object. So mind hypes the pleasure. Actually there is very little pleasure, but mind thinks there is so much pleasure in the sex or like that. So again this Chaitanya was telling, uh, so he was telling, after somebody enjoys sex, after marriage and there is sex, one does. But after some time, then sex becomes just one of the bodily functions, just like any other bodily functions we do. Sex is like that. There is no charm. Just like a sponge is taken and it is dipped into water. And when you take it out and when you squeeze, there is so much water. But after some time, you squeeze more, there is some water comes. Then hardly any water comes when you squeeze. So sex enjoyment is like that. Initially you feel so much joy, but then afterwards there is hardly any enjoyment. So in one of the Brahmachari books, Brahmachari of, not in Krishna consciousness. Before I had read one of other samstha. They also have Brahmachari. So they had this book Brahmacharya. So I had read one story in that. So they tell the story of this Prithviraj Chauhan. I heard about Prithviraj Chauhan. How many have heard? Heard Prithviraj Chauhan, great warrior. And he defeated whom? 17 times? Ghori, I think. Ghori. Muhammad Ghori. The first Mughal who wanted entered. So he had attacked and he defeated him something 17 times, right? So he was so powerful, Prithviraj Chauhan. But then 18th time he was defeated. So in that book, the reason was given that why he was defeated 18 times. So every time he would defeat Ghori, so Ghori would ask forgiveness. Please forgive me. Just like Jarasandha. And then Prithviraj Chauhan would leave him. He would go and again bring back army. So 17 times he did like that. 18 times when he came, it was told in the book that this Prithviraj Chauhan, in the previous night, he had sex. That's what he lost semen. And then when next day he went for fighting, he was not as strong. And that's why he got defeated in that battle. That's 18 times. And then Ghori caught him. And then Muhammad Ghori told to Prithviraj Chauhan that I will not leave you because I am not fool like you. I have caught you, I will kill you. So he caught him, Muhammad Ghori, and took him to Afghanistan there from where he had come. So he tied him, and he even plucked out his eyes, Prithviraj Chauhan. And then Ghori knew that Prithviraj Chauhan had the ability of this Shabda Bedi man. He can shoot hearing the sound. So Ghori wanted to see before killing him the art of Shabda Bedi from Prithviraj Chauhan. So then he arranges one big stadium and like that, and he's tied and he's given one arrow and bow, and then there is one bell. One person is supposed to ring the bell, and he's supposed to shoot that bell, hearing the sound. So then Muhammad Ghori says, "Okay, ready?" He says, "Ring the bell." He shouts Ghori, and then Prithviraj Chauhan is supposed to he is supposed to ring the bell and he is supposed to shoot the bell. But then what Prithviraj Chauhan does? He shoots at Gauri only. The sound is coming from. When he says ring the bell, he shoots Gauri only. So Gauri is dead, but then later he's also killed. Prithviraj Chauhan is also killed. So that was the story that I read. But quite instructive story. So how he lost 18 times. So uh, so sex makes one weak. Yeah, so here Prabhupada also writing that these damsels, they after sex enjoyment they are not happy. And later after few verses again it will come that they again want to enjoy. after after some verses, smelling the sandalwood fragrance, they again get agitated. That is coming ahead. So like that. So mind first cheats us and then tortures us. Same applies here also. A mind will cheats us in doing wrong, something sinful, and then it will torture. Why you did that? That is the nature of mind. So these damsel, they are not feeling happy, but afterwards, then again, they want to do the same thing. So even when I used to go for this, we used to call in the initial days when I had joined temple. That time I had the seva of calling calling the people for the Saturday Sunday program. So a lot of people used to come for say, weekend programs, and married, unmarried, bachelors like that. They used to come, and I had a database. I had to call them 3 days before for the program reminder. So when I would call, uh, when I would call the boys who are unmarried bachelor, so when I'd call, the ringtones will be some Bollywood Hindi songs, Dil to pagal hai, or like something. They would have some romantic songs as a ringtone I would hear. And then when I would call the married men, the ringtone would be Om Namah Shivaya, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, Swami Jai Jagat Ki. So I concluded, drew one conclusion that how in the initial when you are not married, you are in high in heavens. Marriage happens in heaven, and you have such expectations. But later when married, then people become settled. There is not so much enjoyment as I had. Then they take shelter of Om Jai Jagadish Hare. That is the only pleasure. So like that, here also same thing Prabhupada is telling. So again we will see what happens. 26th verse. ययोस्तत्स्नानविभ्रष्ट नवकुङ्कुमपिञ्जरं वितृशोऽपि पिबन्ति अम्भा पाययन्तो गजागजी. 26th.
After the damsels of the heavenly planets bathe in the water, it becomes yellowish and fragrant due to the kumkuma from their bodies. Thus the elephants come to bathe there with their wives, the she elephants, and they also drink the water, although they are not thirsty.
It's colorful water. तारहेम महारत्न विमान शतसङ्कुलं जुष्टं पुण्यजनस्त्रीभिर्यथाखं शतदिग्गणन्.
The airplanes of the heavenly damsels are bedecked with pearls, golds, and many valuable jewels. The heavenly damsels are compared to cloud in the sky, decorated with occasional flash of electrical lighting.
Next. It's good ringtone. इक्त्वा यक्षेश्वर पुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं च तत् द्रुमैकामदुघैरिध्यं चित्रमाल्यफलचदै.
While traveling, the demigods passed over the forest known as Saugandhika, which is full of varieties of flowers, fruits, and desired trees. While passing over the forest, they also saw the regions of Yaksheshwara.
Now they saw here. This is reference to the Alkapuri, which is there, not the previous one. Next. Raktakantha khaganika swaramandita satphalam kalamsha kula preshtham kharadanda jalashayam.
In that celestial forest, there were many birds whose necks were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swans as well as strong stemmed lotus flowers.
Next. Vana kunjara sangrishta harichandana vayuna अधिपुण्य जन स्त्रीणाम मुहुर उन्मथयन मना.
All these atmospheric influences unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and the blowing wind agitated the minds of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment.
Read few lines of the purport.
Whenever there is a nice atmosphere in the material world, immediately there is an awakening of sexual appetite in the mind of materialist persons. This tendency is present everywhere within this material world, not only on this earth, but in higher planetary system as well. In complete contrast with the influence of this atmosphere on the minds of the living entities within the material world is the description of the spiritual world. The women there are hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in this material world. And the spiritual atmosphere is also many times better. Yet, despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of the denizens do not become agitated because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planet, the spiritual minds of the inhabitants are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of the Lord that such enjoyment could not surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is the culmination of all pleasure in the material world.
Okay. Fine. So yeah. So again here, because of the friction of the elephants who are running in the forest, the sandalwood trees would rub, their body would rub against the sandalwood trees. And because of that, the fragrance would be there in the air. And these women themselves, when they would they would smell that fragrance, they would become again agitated. So the blowing winds agitate the minds of the damsel there for further sexual enjoyment, like that. So although in previously it is mentioned they were not happy, and then they again want to do same thing. So yeah, so Prabhupada also gives the example of a pregnant lady. So Prabhupada says in that Daksha section that how the lady who becomes pregnant and she gives birth to the child, so it's so painful, the process of delivery. So she decides that I will not become pregnant again. But after the delivery of the child, then again that pleasure is so powerful that one again wants to have a child. So one of the devotee doctor, he is like he had done like some delivery. So he was talking. So I was asking that how painful it is, delivery, like Prabhupada says. So I was telling you cannot imagine how painful. He told that if you want to know that when a lady is giving birth to a child, he said it is so painful that if you take a blade and on her thigh, if you make a cut like this on her thigh, she will not realize that cut is made. Why? Because yeah, giving birth to a child is more painful than that. You will not realize also if you made cut on the thigh of the lady like that. It's so painful, he was telling. So, but still that pain will not deter her for again enjoyment. So like that here also, the lady is already, so they are not happy, but now again they want because of here. Smelling the sandalwood fragrance. So I was just thinking, what is the connection of the sandalwood fragrance? How when so the again this Chaitanya was telling that the thought of sex is not very far from the mind of a conditioned living entity. Just like somebody can think that sandalwood fragrance is this is the sandalwood chandan which was applied on the body of the Lord. One can think of the Lord also. But they're thinking of enjoyment when they're smelling the fragrance. It's like fragrance of the sandalwood, we make chandan for the Lord. We can remember that chandan also for Lord we are making. But they are remembering that enjoyment. Again, Gauram Guru also this was telling, just like when Menaka came and there was tinkling of the ankle bells. So Vishwamitra immediately got agitated. So Gauranga says he didn't think that is the ringing of the bell of the Lord. Somebody is doing arati. That thought didn't come. Thought that's the tinkling of the bell. So the thought of the sex is not very far from the mind of a conditioned living entity. Hmm. They smell the fragrance of the sandalwood and they think of enjoyment. Hmm. So even Shaubhari Muni, he saw the fish mating and he got agitated just by the fish mating. Hmm. So that was like Uddipan for Shaubhari Muni. He saw the fish and immediately he got attracted. And there was some, that incident comes of Devahuti who was playing on the terrace. So when one demigod, Gandharva, he saw her and he fell from that aeroplane only directly. So how the thought is so very close to for a conditioned living entity of sex from. So so the lust is compared to the elephant. Mm. So elephant sometimes who goes in the jungle and there are banana trees. So elephant what he does with his sound he can, banana tree is hardly anybody can uproot. For an elephant it is such a powerful elephant. He will just take the banana tree with his trunk and uproot. For him it is so easy. Mm. So like that for a sadhaka is like that banana tree. Mm. And lust is like the elephant. So it shakes so much lust for a conditioned living entity. But those who are pure devotees, they are like the banyan tree. So there is banana tree, we are like banana tree, and the pure devotees are like banyan tree. Banyan tree is so huge. Elephant cannot do anything to the banyan tree. So we should try to become from banana to a banyan tree. So that is our journey. So the elephant will not do anything. But right now we are in banana stage. So we have to grow. At least I am in that stage. Some of you may be banyan. I am still banana. So, so later, now this banyan tree description will come, where Lord Shiva is sitting under a banyan tree. So he is like that banyan tree. He is also called Dhira. Huh? Dhira, why is called? Prabhupada says, no? Why Lord Shiva is called Dhira? Because of some incidents. Huh? Parvati is trying to agitate him, but he was not agitated. That time they wanted one soldier, commander in chief for the demigods. So Lord Shiva was not agitated. So he's called Dhira. So now we will see how he is like banyan tree, sitting under a banyan tree, and what is the size of that banyan tree. No elephant can shake that. There's some Yojana's height. 31. वैदूर्यकृतसोपान वाप्योत्पलमालिनी प्राप्तं किं पुरुषैर्दृष्ट्वा त आराधदृशुर्वतम्. What?
We also saw that the bathing ghats and their staircases were made of Vaiduryamani. The water was full of lotus flowers. Passing by such lakes, the demigods reached a place where there was a great banyan tree. Banyan tree.
Banyan tree, not banana tree. Banyan. Vata vriksha means banyan. And there's people. Ashwatha is which tree? Ashwatha is also banyan. Ashwattham. Somebody said it's people, not people tree. People tree is different. There was confusion. I also in confusion. There is one is people tree, and there is one banyan tree. Very different. Ashwatha is which one? Banyan only? Banyan tree, not people tree. Na? Huh? What? वेगळं आहे ना वड. What is that they have parambya. So, but that is compared to the this material world, na? In that vata vriksha, vada. And Ashwatha is also? Ashwatha is what? Ashwatha tree. And
People tree. People.
so some say that that's why there's Ashwatha means people, and but still people tree doesn't have parambya. Hmm? So then in the Bhagavad Gita we see that is shown on that parambya too. Which one?
In the translation of 15.1 Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is saying Ashwatha as banyan tree.
Okay. Acha. That is there, na? So banyan, translation is banyan tree. Okay. So people is different, people tree. Okay. 32. Sayojana satotsedha pato na vitapayata paryakrita chala chayo nirnidasthapavarjita.
That banyan tree was 800 miles high, and its branches spread over 600 miles around. The tree cast a fine shade, which permanently cooled the temperature. Yet there was no noise of birds.
800 miles high, spread over 600 miles around. That's huge tree and no birds, no passing of drops. It's clean, no noise. They can have nice Krishna Katha. Next. And Tasmin Mahayogamai Mumukshu Sharane Sura Tadrushu Shivam Asinam Tyaktamarsham Ivantakam.
The demigods saw Lord Shiva sitting under that tree, which was competent to give protection to mystic yogis and, and deliver all people. As grave as time eternal, he appeared to have given up all anger.
34. Sanandanadyir Mahasiddhai Shantai Sam Shanta Vigraham Upasyamanam Sakhyacha Bhartra Guhyaka Rakshasam.
Lord Shiva sat there, surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of the Guhyakas, and the four Kumaras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly.
Yeah. So there, who all is sitting in the audience? Kuvera. So Lord Shiva is having nice Krishna Katha going on there. Under that tree. The audience, Kuvera is there. Then Chatush Kumar. I had Narad Muni also description is there. So they are hearing Krishna Katha from Lord Shiva. So although so much thing has happened, but his Lord Shiva is detached. The Krishna Katha chal raha hai. So he is absorbed in that. So the personality sitting with Lord Shiva are significant because the four Kumaras were liberated from birth. So Prabhupada is writing how Lord Shiva, and there is connection between Chatush Kumar and Lord Shiva. So when Brahma gave orders to Kumaras to get married and procreate, that time they denied the order. And then because of the anger of Brahma, Lord Shiva was born. So Gauram Prushta was telling, when the two sampradaya quarrel and third sampradaya is born. I don't know the purport now. So which two sampradaya? Brahma sampradaya and Kumar sampradaya. There is disagreement, then third sampradaya is born. Lord Shiva, Rudra sampradaya. So there is connection between Kumaras and Lord Shiva. So when Brahma became angry on the Kumaras, Lord Shiva was born. Again, there is one more connection, like we hear of Pani. Acha. And so this Gaurang Brutals, this one? Okay, okay. When two great people fight, Gaurang Brutals. Upper Sampradaya. But here it was proper Sampradaya. Rudra Sampradaya is also bona fide. Brahma Sampradaya bona fide and Kumar Sampradaya also bona fide. So one more connection is there, just like this Panini, the Sanskrit father of Sanskrit grammar, Panini. So he previously was a very dull student actually. He was very, he wouldn't understand much of the whatever was taught, grammar, and it would go above his head in his school days, Gurukul days. So Panini and his other friends were very sharp and they would understand everything. So he got frustrated and then he went to the forest to do tapasya. So he goes to forest and does severe tapasya to please Lord Shiva. And then that time Lord Shiva appears there. And then he appears to Panini and Panini is very happy. And Lord Shiva knows what is Panini's desire. So that time Lord Shiva with his Damru, he makes 14 times he plays the Damru. And from that emerge the Maheshwari Sutras. So the sutras, the 14 sutras only, from that Panini built whole Sanskrit grammar just by hearing the 14 times Damru of Lord Shiva. And near to that place, there were Chatush Kumara who were also doing austerities, tapasya, to please Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva appears simultaneously to them also, and they also hear this 14 times Damru. So now the message from the Damru, Panini gets different, and the Kumaras get different message. The sound is same. We may also hear, we will get different message. We'll only hear dum 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 dum. The Panini heard something, he built whole grammar. And Kumaras got the message of renunciation, complete, like that. And they, of course, continued tapasya like that. So just we have this, Hare Krishna, that Maheshwara Sutras, you just hear how coding, the language is so coded, just 14 mantras, and based on that, the whole grammar was built by Panini. So you can hear and you can think of how we play that first video, short one. It's called Maheshwara Sutras. So how because of that Panini built the whole grammar, which is 4,000 sutras he built from just the 14 mantras. What happened? If you hear and 14 sutras, you will feel what is this? Kya hai? The sutras are not coming out. डमरू बजाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. We require Lord Shiva's mercy. We will go little ahead and then till that time figure it out. The 35th verse will go. We have books you have, na? Vidya tapo yoga patham asitam tam adhishwaram charantam vishwasurudam vatsalya lokamangalam.
The demigods saw Lord Shiva situated in his perfection as the master of the senses, knowledge, fruitive activities, and the path of achieving perfection. He was the friend of the entire world, and by virtue of his full affection for everyone, he was very auspicious.
Next. Lingam cha tapasabhishtam bhasmadanda jatasninam angena sandhyabhrirucha chandralekham cha bibratam.
He was seated on a deer skin and was practicing all forms of austerity. Because his body was smeared with ashes, he looked like an evening cloud. On his hair was the sign of a half moon, a symbolic representation.
Read the purport also.
Lord Shiva's symptoms of austerity are not exactly those of a Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is certainly the number one Vaishnava, but he exhibits a feature for a particular class of men who cannot follow the Vaishnava principles.
The Shaivites, the devotees of Lord Shiva, generally dress like Lord Shiva, and sometimes they indulge in smoking and taking intoxicants. Such practices are never accepted by the followers of Vaishnava rituals.
Mm. Working video? Small, that short Maheshwari Sutra.
I
Video. Short video.
own, Rilruk, Eong, I out, Hayavarat, learn, Yamangananam, Japai, Gadadash, Jabagadadash, Kapachatatatatatav, Kapai, Shashasar, Hal.
Hari bol. This is, huh? I own relic. I ouch. So there are 14 sutras which Panini heard from that Damru 14 times. And that's all he built the whole grammar. Imagine what kind of caliber he must be having. We cannot figure out what is what. You know, kya hai? Yang, ouch, ouch. So they're all very nicely designed. So Panini designed that. So that connection between Kumara and Lord Shiva we saw. 37th.
Prabhuji, I have a reflection on this section.
Yes.
So, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has taken this section of Daksha and Sati pastime, and in this particular section, he was mentioning that why is there such an elaborate description of the opulence of Kailash. So he was saying that when we are reading some scripture, we should ask what is the point of the point. Means here the opulence of Kailash Parvat is described, where the demigods are seeing the beauty and opulence of Kailash, and they are in wonder and amazement. And it's almost like the description is almost like a spiritual world. But he says that the point of the point is that that by seeing the opulence of Kailash, both the material and the spiritual, the demigods may develop a respectful and a reverential attitude towards Lord Shiva. So that when they ask for forgiveness, it is not that lip service they are doing, but with that understanding of his greatness. And this opulence is described in both the terms, in the Kshatriya terms also and in the Brahmana terms also. So Bhagavatam over here is creating a setting of prayers, to be offered to Lord Shiva. And then maybe in next section, like Brahma is offering prayers to Lord Shiva. Like so he's saying that one is ritual expertise does not mean spiritual expertise. He gave the example of the Yogic Brahmana Patnis also. Uh, they uh, uh, they they were actually surrendered to Krishna. Their surrender to Krishna is bigger than just performing the rituals of the Yogic Brahmanas, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So basically, Prabhuji is saying about the Chaitanya Charan that the it's setting for the prayers Brahma and the demigods are going to offer to Lord Shiva. So Kailash description is given so that we know the setting behind that. Yeah. Thank you. Now it's working. Video. Show me. Because that video was the first one. Nice. You are required. We are. हाँ वो ऊपर वाला ऊपर
I own, Rilruk, Eong, I out, Hayavarat, learn, Yamangananam, Japai, Gadadash, Jabagadadash, Kapachatatatatav Kapai Shashasar Hal.
That is video. ठीक है. Now
Aiun Rilruk Aong Iouts Hayavarat Learn Yamangananam Jabai Gadadash Jabagadadas Kapachatatatatav Kapai Shashasar Hal.
हरी बोल. कुछ समझ में नहीं आया तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं. You be here for some time. Another video we have to show. Main video after some time. 37th. उपविष्टं दर्भमयं मयां भृशां ब्रह्म सनातनं नारदाय प्रवोचन्तं पृच्छते शृण्वतां सताम्.
He was seated on the straw mattress and speaking to all present, including the great sage Narada, to whom he specifically spoke about the absolute truth.
So here we see that how Lord Shiva is completely absorbed in speaking Krishna Katha. For him, those all things has happened, but he's not so much worried. He's absorbed in Krishna Katha, and the audience, Narad Muni, Kuvera, Chatushkumar, and all the great sages are sitting and they are hearing Krishna Katha from Lord Shiva under that tree. So we see that how Lord Shiva is not much disturbed. So once this second Chaitanya was telling about one person whose name is Chetan Bhagat. You have heard of Chetan Bhagat? Anybody? The writer. How many heard? Chetan Bhagat. Achha. Who is he? He knows. He is writer. Author. He is author. Big author, famous author. He writes novels and other like that. So what happened? Once he had written some novel and yeah. So then what somebody, one filmmaker, he liked that novel and based on that novel, he made one movie. I don't know which movie. He made a movie and that got very, very famous, that movie, which was based on that novel. And he didn't recognize or give any acknowledgement to this Chetan Bhagat. He either से लिया मैंने story. And he became very famous, that fellow who made that movie, and he got so much money and he not a single place he acknowledged this Chetan Bhagat he has taken like that. So this Chetan Bhagat was so much in depression. अरे मैंने किताब लिखा, मेरे बुक के ऊपर इसने मूवी निकाली. He became famous and he has not acknowledged also. So he was feeling so frustrated and like that. So once he came to Chowpatty temple, this Chetan Bhagat. So Chaitanya was there that time, and then he met Radhanath Swami Maharaj, this Chetan Bhagat, very famous author. And he was so much depressed. And then he told this whole thing to Maharaj, that this is what happened and I am feeling so much angry, depressed and frustrated that I am not acknowledged, I have written. Then Maharaj told him about this. See, there are two types of people. One who are externally focused and those who are internally focused. So those who are externally focused, they focus on outside things and their happiness depends on the outside world. But those who are internally focused, their happiness doesn't depend on outside things. Their happiness depends on the Supreme Lord. So they are focused internally. So for them, whatever things happen outside, that doesn't disturb them much. So which one of you want to be? Externally focused or internally focused? So right now you are focused externally, so that's why you're thinking that this movie became so famous and then I didn't get acknowledgement and that's why you're disturbed. But if you focus internally with the spiritual platform and you focus on the Lord, then you will become peaceful and calm. These things will not agitate you so much. So then Maharaj, of course, preached to him, told about chanting and like that. So this Chaitanya was telling that how we also in many times we become externally focused. So things which happen around us disturbs us so much. So when we focus internally and we are fixed in our service to the Lord and service to Guru, then these things won't disturb so much. So here we see Lord Shiva also, he is fixed in his Krishna Katha. So things which has happened, Daksha, unka fight, cursing, counter cursing, Satis committing suicide also, and that has not much disturbed Lord Shiva because he was internally focused. So like that we should try to, then the things will, outside things won't affect us so much. So this again Chaitanya Prabhu says that the more things change around us, the more we need to hold on to things that don't change. The more things change around us, the more we need to hold to things that don't change. So when in our life there are too many things changing around and that may disturb us, so the more we need to hold on to things that don't change. Which are the things that don't change? Holy name, Krishna Katha, and chanting, association of devotees, that we need to hold more strongly. That don't change. So the more things change, we need to hold to things that don't change. So absorption in these things are important. Then external things will not so much disturb. So when I was in company working, so I remember the once we had in our company a quality check. Quality check by some people come and they check the quality of how you are working and what projects you do, whether you are following all these ISO standards for this software company. So the quality check was supposed to be there in 1 or 2 days, and then we had meeting of our team, and we were thinking how to set right some standards which we had not followed in our project. So there was our project team leader, madam, and project manager. Team leader, above team leader is project manager. So now they had discussion between both. Now when the quality control, these people come, they put NC, that is called NC. NC means you got a default, 1 NC, 2 NC, like the NC means non-conformity, means आपने follow नहीं किया, 1, 2, 3, जितना ज़्यादा NC मिलेगा, that your project is not following the standards. So now there was discussion between the project manager and team leader that if we do like this, then there will be less NC. तो ऐसा करना चाहिए, ये चेंज करना चाहिए. So project manager higher level, na, team leader should listen, but team leader was like, no, ऐसा ही करना चाहिए, then we will get less NC, we should do like this. And the project manager was doing. So ultimately the project manager said, he got frustrated and he said one good thing which I still remember. ठीक है, जो करना है करो, मेरे घर पे तो NC नहीं लग रहा है. ये प्रोजेक्ट पे लग रहा है, मेरे घर पे तो नहीं लग रहा है, तो करना है वो करो. So I think a devotee should be like that, So things around us, so many things might, ये problem है ISKCON में, वो problem है, ये problem, इसने वैसा बोला, इसने ऐसा किया. So many things might disturb us, but a devotee should be at least my relationship with the Lord and Guru and my service to them should continue. Things around me so much disturb. Management नहीं हो रहा है ठीक से, ये नहीं हो रहा है, वो नहीं हो रहा है, ये problem है ISKCON में, this problem, that problem, so many problems. ISKCON had problems during Prabhupada times. ISKCON has now problem and afterwards also have problems. We perfect our lives, we do our best, we focus on what will not change, and we go back home, back to God. So that is our like home. हमारे घर के ऊपर NC नहीं लगना चाहिए. Like that we should be. So like that, Lord Shiva is like that. चल रहा है अपना, Krishna Katha is going on nicely. So we can learn from great scientists. So how they were absorbed in their work. The things around them wouldn't matter. Just like one story I was reading, Einstein was once traveling in a train. And when he was traveling in the US, he was traveling, and he was famous, quite famous that time because this theory of relativity and other things. So he was traveling, and the ticket checker came, for checking ticket किसके पास है. So then Einstein saw that ticket checker is coming. So he started searching the ticket. Ticket कहाँ रखा है? किधर है ticket? Whether मैंने निकाला है क्या नहीं देखना पड़े. So he was seeing ticket कहाँ है, searching, and then the ticket checker came. And he came near Einstein, and Einstein was searching ticket kaha hai, ticket kaha hai. He was not finding the ticket. And then ticket checker understood he is Einstein, the great scientist. So So he told to Einstein, "Don't worry, I know who you are. You are a great scientist, you know. I know who you are, so no need of. I know that you must be having ticket. Don't worry." So then the ticket checker goes ahead, and then still Einstein is searching. किधर है extra ticket कहाँ है? Ticket मिल ही नहीं रहा इधर उधर. And then the ticket checker comes back and says, "Don't worry, I know who you are. Huh? I know who you are. Don't worry, don't take tension." So Einstein says, "I also know who am I, but I have forgotten where to get down exactly. So that's why I'm searching the ticket. किधर उतरना है मुझे?" वही भूल गया मैं. So such people are like that, you know. So they are absorbed in so much of their work, you know. So even his one is Gaur Krishna Goswami Maharaj was telling about Abdul Kalam. You know, he was also a great scientist. So he Maharaj tells about his interview, one interview where he was asked that why didn't you marry? So he said, when I entered the lab when I was young, I was so much engrossed in the research, and when I came out, I forgot to marry. I didn't remember I have to marry. Maharaj was telling this. So like that, these people, the scientists are so much in their work, so much absorbed, so they forget things which are going around them, you know, like that. So we can also learn something from Lord Shiva and this scientists, that how one can be absorbed in our devotional service and not get affected by things which are around us. So one video is there of Ramanujan, Srinivas Ramanujan. You have heard about Srinivas Ramanujan? How many of you heard? A great mathematician. So how he would be absorbed in his work? Huh? In the class, I told some of his equation. Might be somewhere not there, but this is nice short video where about Ramanujan, how such a powerful mathematician, how he was absorbed. Right? So start from beginning and sound 5-10 minutes video. Plain VLC otherwise. For that day, I told one equation of Ramanujan. That was very mind-boggling. So he was in 1887. He was born.
पर गए तो उन्होंने देखा रामानुजन बच्चों वाले स्लेट पर कुछ गणित के सूत्र लिख रहे थे. जब उन्होंने रामानुजन से पूछा, आप पन्नों पर क्यों लिखते हैं? अगर आपने अपनी जिंदगी में कभी गणित की किताब को छुआ होगा तो आप श्रीनिवास रामानुजन का नाम जरूर जानते होंगे. लेकिन क्या आप जानते हैं, गणित के प्रति उनके पागलपन की वजह से उनके कोहनी की चमड़ी 1 इंच मोटी हो गई थी. जी हाँ, उनके कोहनी की चमड़ी आपके एड़ियों से भी अधिक मोटी हो गई थी और कभी-कभी वहां की चमड़ी से फटकर खून निकलने लगता था. अब आप सोच रहे होंगे आखिर उनके साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ, लेकिन अभी चौंकिए मत, क्योंकि आगे और चौंकाने वाली बात आपको बताने वाला हूँ. श्रीनिवास रामानुजन के एक करीबी दोस्त बताते हैं कि जब वो उसके घर पर गए तो उन्होंने देखा रामानुजन बच्चों वाले स्लेट पर कुछ गणित के सूत्र लिख रहे थे. जब उन्होंने रामानुजन से पूछा, आप पन्नों पर क्यों लिखते हैं, तो रामानुजन का जवाब सुनकर आपके रोंगटे खड़े हो जाएंगे. रामानुजन बताते हैं, जब खाने के लिए जेब में पैसे नहीं हो तो लिखने के लिए पन्ने का जुगाड़ कहां से करूं, इसलिए मैं स्लेट के ऊपर गणित के फॉर्मूले सुलझा लेता हूं और उसे बार बार मिटाने के लिए कपड़े का इस्तेमाल करने में वक्त बर्बाद होता था, इसलिए मैं अपनी कोहनी का इस्तेमाल करता हूँ और कई सालों से ऐसा करने की वजह से मेरी कोहनी की चमड़ी इतनी काली और मोटी हो गई है. उस वक्त भी उनकी कोहनी पर खून के धब्बे दिखाई दे रहे थे. और आज के वीडियो में हम आपको गणित के भगवान की कुछ ऐसी ही कहानियों के बारे में बताएंगे कि कैसे जब उनको पता चल गया कि अब कुछ ही दिनों में उनकी मौत हो जाएगी तो वो जल्दी जल्दी अपने दिमाग में जन्मे सारे सूत्रों को पन्ने पर उतारना शुरू कर दिए. कैसे मृत्यु के आखिरी वक्त पर वो अपने पेट के बल लेटकर पन्नों पर तेज रफ्तार से गणित के फॉर्मूले लिखते जा रहे थे और उन्होंने अपने मृत्यु से कुछ दिन पहले गणित के इतने सारे फॉर्मूले लिख दिए जितना कि एक गणितज्ञ पूरी जिंदगी में नहीं कर पाता. और आज 100 साल बाद भी दुनिया भर के गणितज्ञ रामानुजन के लिखे हुए उनके फॉर्मूले का तोड़ निकालने में नाकामयाब है. रामानुजन के बारे में सिर्फ यही बात नहीं है, आगे और भी बताऊंगा, लेकिन आप इस वीडियो को एंड तक देखना जरूर. महज 32 साल की उम्र में दुनिया को अलविदा कहने वाले रामानुजन का जन्म 22 दिसंबर 1887 को तमिलनाडु के इरोडी शहर में हुआ था. आपको जानकर हैरानी होगी, जब इनकी उम्र बहुत छोटी थी तभी से वो अपने साथ के दोस्तों को पढ़ाने लगे थे। कहा यह भी जाता है कि 7वीं में आते आते वे बीए के छात्रों को गणित पढ़ाने लगे। अक्सर ही उनके शिक्षकों के पास उनके सवालों का कोई जवाब नहीं होता था। ये वजह है कि उनके स्कूल के हेडमास्टर ने कह दिया था कि विद्यालय में होने वाली परीक्षाओं के पैमाने रामानुजन के लिए लागू नहीं होते। यानी विद्यालय में जो परीक्षा होती है वो परीक्षा रामानुजन के लायक है ही नहीं। रामानुजन की एबिलिटी एग्जाम से कई गुना अधिक बढ़कर है। दरअसल रामानुजन को गणित विषय इतना ज्यादा पसंद था कि वो 24 घंटे सिर्फ और सिर्फ गणित के फॉर्मूलों के बारे में सोचते रहते। रामानुजन कहते हैं कि गणित की खोज करना भगवान की खोज करने के बराबर है और मैं 24 घंटे भगवान की खोज में व्यस्त रहता हूँ। मेरे लिए किसी नए फॉर्मूले का आविष्कार करना भगवान से रूबरू होने के बराबर है। और उन्हें विश्वास था कि गणित से ही ईश्वर का सही स्वरूप स्पष्ट हो सकता है। वे रात दिन संख्याओं के गुण धर्मों के बारे में सोचते। अक्सर सुबह उठकर कागज पर सूत्र लिख देते, यानी कि रात को नींद के वक्त भी उनके दिमाग में गणित के फॉर्मूले चलते थे और सुबह उठते ही वो उनको कागजों पर उतार देते। ये दौर साल 1898 का था, जब रामानुजन ने हाई स्कूल में दाखिला लिया। इसी दौरान उन्हें महान गणितज्ञ जीएस कार की लिखी एक किताब A Synopsis of Elementary Results in Pure and Applied Mathematics पढ़ने का मौका मिला। इसमें उच्च गणित के कुल 5000 फॉर्मूले दिए गए थे। रामानुजन के लिए किताब किसी खजाने जैसी थी, लेकिन हैरानी की बात तो ये थी कि उस किताब को दुनिया बेकार समझती थी और रामानुजन ने अपने ज्ञान के दम पर उस किताब में लिखे फॉर्मूले को दुनिया के सामने लाए। और जिस किताब को लोग बेकार समझते थे, रामानुजन की वजह से लोग उस किताब को एक बेशुमार ज्ञान वाली किताब मानने लगे। हाई स्कूल की परीक्षा पूरी करने के बाद रामानुजन के सामने एक नई समस्या आ गई। हाई स्कूल की परीक्षा पास करने के बाद रामानुजन को गणित और अंग्रेजी में अच्छे अंक लाने के कारण आगे की शिक्षा के लिए छात्रवृत्ति मिली, लेकिन दूसरे विषयों को छोड़कर वे बस गणित में डूबे रहते थे, जिसके चलते वह छात्रवृत्ति बंद कर दी गई। 1905 में वो मद्रास विश्वविद्यालय की प्रवेश परीक्षा में शामिल हुए, लेकिन गणित को छोड़कर बाकी विषयों में फेल हो गए। 1906 और 1907 की प्रवेश परीक्षा का यही परिणाम रहा, लेकिन गणित में इनकी व्यस्तता में कोई कमी नहीं आई। साल 1909 में रामानुजन की शादी हो गई। अब इनके ऊपर घर चलाने की नई जिम्मेदारी आ गई। इसके बाद घर चलाने के लिए वे नौकरी ढूंढने लगे और इसी दौरान रामानुजन कई प्रभावशाली व्यक्तियों के संपर्क में आ गए। इस दौरान रामानुजन कई तरह की नौकरियां भी करने लगे। इनको 25 रुपए महीने की तनख्वाह मिलती थी। नौकरी के साथ साथ गणित में भी रामानुजन की व्यस्तता जारी रही। साल 1913 में एक ऐसी घटना हुई जिसके बाद रामानुजन की जिंदगी हमेशा के लिए बदल गई। साल 1913 के दौरान रामानुजन ने अपने ढेर सारे गणित के फॉर्मूलों की एक चिट्ठी लिखकर कैम्ब्रिज के प्रोफेसर और गणितज्ञ जीएच हार्डी को भेज दी। हार्डी ने जब चिट्ठी को देखा तो उन्हें लगा किसी ने मजाक में इस तरीके का फॉर्मूला लिखकर भेजा है, लेकिन जब कैम्ब्रिज के उस गणितज्ञ रामानुजन की चिट्ठी को ध्यान से पढ़ने लगे तो उनके होश उड़ गए। हार्डी बताते हैं उस चिट्ठी में रामानुजन ने ऐसे ऐसे फॉर्मूले लिख डाले जिसके बारे में उन्होंने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था। उनकी चिट्ठी में ऐसे ऐसे फॉर्मूले लिखे हुए थे जिसके बारे में बड़े बड़े गणितज्ञ भी नहीं सोच पाए थे। हार्डी तुरंत समझ गए कि चिट्ठी भेजने वाला कोई आम आदमी नहीं बल्कि कोई बहुत बड़ा गणितज्ञ है। हार्डी ने तुरंत रामानुजन की चिट्ठी का रिप्लाई किया और हार्डी के जवाब की वजह से 1913 में रामानुजन को मद्रास विश्वविद्यालय में छात्रवृत्ति मिलने लगी। अगले साल ही हार्डी ने रामानुजन के लिए कैम्ब्रिज के ट्रिनिटी कॉलेज आने की व्यवस्था कर दी और हार्डी के इसी फैसले ने दुनिया के सामने सबसे बड़े गणितज्ञ को लाया। रामानुजन ने गणित में जो कुछ भी किया वो सब अपने बलबूते किया था, लेकिन उन्हें ऊपर तक पहुंचाने वाले हार्डी ही थे। रामानुजन जब कैम्ब्रिज पहुंचे तब उन्हें गणित के बारे में तो बहुत कुछ पता था, लेकिन उन्हें गणित की कुछ शाखाओं का बिल्कुल भी ज्ञान नहीं था। इसीलिए हार्डी ने रामानुजन को पढ़ाने का जिम्मा अपने सिर पर ले लिया। हालांकि बाद में उन्होंने कहा कि जितना उन्होंने रामानुजन को सिखाया उससे कहीं ज्यादा रामानुजन ने उन्हें सिखाया। 1916 में रामानुजन ने कैम्ब्रिज से बीएससी की डिग्री ली। इसी दौरान रामानुजन और हार्डी का काम गणित की दुनिया की सुर्खियां बनने लगा था, लेकिन इंग्लैंड रामानुजन के शरीर को ज्यादा रास नहीं आ रहा था। इसकी एक वजह तो ठंडा मौसम था और दूसरी वहां की खान पान। गर्म जलवायु वाले इलाके और ब्राह्मण परिवार से ताल्लुक रखने वाले रामानुजन शाकाहारी थे और इसके चलते उन्होंने इंग्लैंड में बहुत दिक्कतें सही। खान पान की इसी दिक्कत के कारण 1917 में वो बीमार हो गए। बाद में टीबी के लक्षण दिखने पर उन्हें अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया गया। तब तक उनके लेख मशहूर पत्रिकाओं में छपने लगे थे। 1918 में रामानुजन को कैम्ब्रिज फिलोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी, रॉयल सोसाइटी तथा ट्रिनिटी कॉलेज तीनों का फेलो चुना गया, लेकिन उनका स्वास्थ्य दिन प्रतिदिन गिरता जा रहा था। ये वो दौर था जब दुनिया के पास टीबी जैसी बीमारी का इलाज नहीं था। जब इन्हें लगने लगा कि शायद अब इनकी मौत हो जाएगी, तब 1919 में उन्हें भारत वापस लौटना पड़ा। अब रामानुजन वापस कुंभकोणम में थे और उनका अंतिम समय चारपाई पर ही बीता। आपको जानकर हैरानी होगी, जब रामानुजन को पता चल गया कि अब कुछ दिनों में उनकी मौत हो जाएगी, तो इस दौरान पेट के बल लेटे लेटे कागज पर तेजी से लिखते रहते थे। वो क्या लिख रहे थे इसके बारे में किसी को कुछ नहीं पता था। काफी उपचार के बावजूद उनके स्वास्थ्य में तेजी से गिरावट आ गई और 26 अप्रैल 1920 को महज 32 साल की उम्र में उनका निधन हो गया। दुनिया के सबसे महान गणितज्ञ दुनिया को छोड़ जा चुके थे, लेकिन अपने पीछे वो सैकड़ों नहीं बल्कि हजारों की संख्या में ऐसे ऐसे फॉर्मूले छोड़ गए जिसको समझना अभी बाकी था। उन दिनों रामानुजन की मृत्यु से पहले लिखी गई नोटबुक मद्रास विश्वविद्यालय में जमा थी। बाद में प्रोफेसर हार्डी के जरिए ट्रिनिटी कॉलेज के ग्रंथालय पहुंची। आपको जानकर हैरानी होगी कि मृत्यु से पहले इस नोटबुक में रामानुजन ने जल्दी जल्दी में लगभग 600 फॉर्मूले प्रस्तुत किए थे, लेकिन उनकी उपपत्ति नहीं दी थी। विस्कॉन्सिन विश्वविद्यालय के गणितज्ञ डॉक्टर रिचर्ड अस्की बताते हैं कि मृत्युशैया पर लेटे लेटे साल भर में किया गया रामानुजन का ये कार्य बड़े बड़े गणितज्ञों के जीवन भर के कार्य के बराबर है। और इससे भी अधिक हैरानी की बात तो यह है कि आज रामानुजन की मृत्यु हुए 100 साल से ज्यादा का वक्त बीत चुका है, लेकिन उनके द्वारा लिखे गए फॉर्मूले को आज भी लोग समझ नहीं पा रहे कि आखिरकार रामानुजन ने एक छोटे से फॉर्मूले से किसी बड़े से सवाल का तोड़ कैसे निकाल लिया। एक ऐसा गणितज्ञ जिसके पास लिखने के लिए पन्ना नहीं था और खाने के लिए भोजन की समस्या थी, उसने कुछ ऐसा कर दिखाया जो शायद कोई कभी नहीं कर पाएगा। कुछ विद्वान कहते हैं कि अगर रामानुजन का जन्म आज के जमाने में होता तो शायद ये पूरी दुनिया के सबसे महान गणितज्ञ कहलाते, और इतनी जल्दी उन्हें कोई अलविदा कहने नहीं देता। खैर, आप महान गणितज्ञ श्रीनिवास रामानुजन के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं? आप अपनी राय हमें कमेंट में बताना। वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक कीजिए।
Pause. Okay. Baki other things are. So we see how these different scientists, they were in different world. So they are mad for something. So we also have to become mad for Krishna. And I heard this because Ramanujan used to read Bhagavad Gita also. So somebody told me that he would quote from Bhagavad Gita. So our Tirupati temple president, what is his name? Revati Raman Prabhu. He got inspiration from him to read Bhagavad Gita, and thus he purchased Bhagavad Gita and read. And thus he got connected. This I heard recently that from Ramanujan's, because he used to get dreams of this Devi coming and telling all these formulas like that. So we should also learn how to get absorbed in our what we are doing. From them we can learn from Einstein and Ramanujan, Abdul Kalam, and from Lord Shiva. So we'll take a break and then we'll assemble again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we have finished 37. We have finished, right? 38th verse. 38. कृत्वोरौ दक्षिणे स्वयं पादपद्मं च जानुनि बाहुं प्रकोष्ठे क्षमालम् आसीनं तर्कमुद्रया.
His left leg was placed on his right thigh, and his left hand was placed on his left thigh. In his right hand, he held Rudraksh beads. This sitting posture is called Virasan. He sat in the Virasan posture, and his finger was in the mode of argument.
Left leg was placed on his right thigh, and his left hand was placed left thigh, left hand on left. Huh? I don't know, Virasan. I think Prabhupada says something. The sitting posture described is called Virasana according to the system of Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes here in the purport that Lord Shiva is called Yogishwara. the master of all yogis, and Krishna is called Yogeshwara. So Yogeshwar indicates that no one can surpass the yoga practice of Lord Shiva, and Yogeshwar indicates that no one can surpass the yogic perfection of Krishna. See, Tarak Mudra. Here Prabhupada writes, significant word is Tarak Mudra. This indicates that, Tarka Mudra. Tarka Mudra, sorry. This indicates that the fingers are opened and the second finger is raised along with the arm to impress the audience with some subject matter. How is that? Fingers are open and second finger is raised. Is this a second finger? This. Is there? Like this. Or but fingers are open, Prabhupada is saying. Like this. Achha. Okay. Like this open and one is raised. So again this Radhikola Prabhu is telling about mudra. Mudra is also very important. When Krishna spoke Gita, he was in which mudra? Hand mudra? Jnana mudra. Jnana mudra. So Jnana mudra is, I think, like this. Like this. Like this is Jnana mudra. So Krishna spoke like this in Jnana mudra when he spoke Bhagavad Gita. So he was telling this Pejor Swami, he was telling why Krishna had Jnana mudra. So because Jnana mudra, this mudra is also used for another purpose. When you milk the cow, you milk like this. Same mudra is there, only like this. If you have milked the cow, you know, so you with this you milk actually like that, like this Chandra they milk. So he was telling Pejor Swami was telling that because Krishna is giving the milk of the whole Upanishads, all the Vedas, and the milk is Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is also actually milking the cow. So in that sense, Jnana Mudra and the milking Mudra are same, he was telling. So Mudra also plays very important role in the teaching. And then Yogeshwara and Yogeshwara. So what is the difference? According to some Sanskrit terms, I had found something here. The Yogeshwar. Yogeshwara, if we do Sandhi Vichar, it becomes Yogi plus Ishwar. Yogi plus Ishwar. Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, that is there. So double E becomes Yogeshwar. Actually, technically speaking, is the Lord of all the yogis is Lord Shiva. And for Krishna, Yogeshwar, Yoga plus Ishwar. Yoga plus Ishwar, the Guna Sandhi is there. So Yoga plus Ishwar becomes Yogeshwar. So he is the Ishwar of all types of yogas. That's what technically it means, according to Sandhi Vichar. Yogeshwar is Yogi plus Ishwar. Means he is the Ishwar of all the yogis, is Lord Shiva. Yogeshwar is Yoga plus Ishwar. That is Yogeshwar, that is Krishna. He is master of all the mystic yogas, yoga. So it, according to the Sandhi Vichhed rule, I found out from some Sanskrit person like that, it means like that. So anyway. And Krishna? Master of yogis, yeah, is like a master of yogis, that is Yogeshwara. Yogendra. Yogendra. Yoga. Yoga plus Indra. Yogendra. So you can ask him which all yogas he knows. Yogendra. Okay, so here these two terms come. In 39, go to next verse. तं ब्रह्मनिर्वाणसमाधिमाश्रितं व्यपुसितं गिरिशं योगकक्षां सलोकपालामुनयो मनूनाम् आद्यं मनुं प्राञ्जलयः प्राणिमुम्.
All the sages and demigods, headed by Indra, offered their respectful obeisances unto Lord Shiva with folded hands. Lord Shiva was dressed in saffron garments and absorbed in trance, thus appearing to be the foremost of all sages.
Next. सतुपलभ्यागतमात्मयोनिं सुरासुरेष्वैरभिवन्दिताङ्घ्रि उत्थाय चक्रे शिरसाभिवन्दनम् अर्हत्तमः कस्य यथैव विष्णु.
Lord Shiva's lotus feet were worshipped by both the demigods and demons. But still, in spite of his exalted position, as soon as he saw that Lord Brahma was there among all other demigods, he immediately stood up and offered his respect by bowing down and touching his lotus feet. Just as Vamandev offered his respectful obeisances to Kashyap Muni.
Yeah. Next. तथा परे सिद्धगणा महर्षिभिः ये वै समन्ताद् अनुनीलोहितं नमस्कृता प्राय शशाङ्कशेखरं कृतः प्रणामं प्रहसन् इवामभि.
All the sages who were sitting with Lord Shiva, such as Narada and others, also offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped, Lord Brahma, smiling, began to speak to Lord Shiva.
42. ब्रह्म उवाच जाने त्वामीशं विश्वस्य जगतो योनिबीजयो शक्ते शिवस्य च परं यत्तद्ब्रह्म निरन्तरम्.
Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord Shiva, I know that you are the controller of the entire material manifestation, the combination, father and mother of the cosmic manifestation, and the supreme Brahman beyond the cosmic manifestation as well. I know you in that way."
So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti and Jiva Goswami tell that Brahma is speaking in a role of a Shaivite. So Brahmaji now speaking, glorifying Lord Shiva as if Lord Shiva is supreme. Like that, he speaks. Many verses are there. So they say that Vishwanath Thakur says that Brahma is speaking now in a role of a Shaivite. He is like a Shaivite, and in that role he is speaking. And there are other reference, other places also in Bhagavatam where Lord Shiva is praised like Lord Vishnu. Where else? Samudra Manthan. There are also demigods praising Lord Shiva as supreme. But then, when next chapter, when Lord Vishnu appears, in the next chapter, everyone, including Lord Shiva, praises Lord Vishnu as supreme. So then that proves Lord Vishnu is supreme. Here, although Lord Brahma is praising Lord Shiva as supreme, but in next chapter, everybody praises, including Lord Shiva, to Lord Vishnu as Lord Vishnu being the supreme. So that clarifies. But here Brahma is taking the role of a Shaivite. Like that. 43. Tvam eva bhagavan etat Shiva Shaktayo Swarupayo Vishwam Srijasi Pasyati Atsi Kridan Urna Pato Yatha.
My dear Lord, you create this cosmic manifestation, maintain it, and annihilate it by expansion of your personality, exactly as a spider creates, maintains, and winds up its web.
Next. त्वमेव धर्मार्थदुघाभिपत्तये दक्षेण सूत्रेण ससर्जिधाद्वरं त्वयैव लोके वसिताश्च सेतवो यान् ब्रह्मणा श्रद्धते धृतः व्रता.
My dear Lord, your Lordship has introduced the system of sacrifices through the agency of Daksha, and thus one may derive the benefits of religious activities and economic development. Under your regulative principles, the institution of the four Varnas and Ashramas is respected. The Brahmanas therefore vow to follow this system strictly.
Next. Tvam karmanam mangalanam kartu swalokam tanushe swaparam va amangalanam cha tamishramulbanam viparyaya kena tat eva kaschit.
O most auspicious lords, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planet, and the impersonal Brahman sphere of the auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hells, which are horrible and ghastly. Yet sometimes it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this.
Purport, you can read some lines.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called the Supreme Will. Oh, page by page down. Karo. It is by the Supreme Will that everything is happening. It is said, therefore, that not a blade of grass moves without the Supreme Will. Generally, it is prescribed that performance of pious activities are promoted to the higher planetary systems. Devotees are promoted to the Vaikunthas or spiritual world, and the impersonal speculators are everything is happening are promoted to the impersonal Brahman. Page by page. Page by page down करना. इधर गए. But it sometimes so happens that miscreants like Ajamil is immediately promoted to the Vaikuntha Loka simply by chanting the name of Narayan. Although when Ajamil uttered this vibration, he intended to call his son Narayan. Lord Narayan took it seriously and immediately gave him promotion to Vaikuntha Loka, despite his background, which was full of sinful activities. Similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in pious activities of performing sacrifice, yet simply because of creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to task.
Okay. So here Brahma is saying that generally the system is what you have made the system of pious people will go to heaven and impious sinful people will go to hell. But now opposite is happening. Daksha, who was so pious, he is getting hellish destination, and Ajamil, who was so sinful, he was promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. So why this is discrepancy is there? You know. So please don't do like that. He is saying, please forgive Daksha. You know, don't give him such. Daksha represents all the Brahmanas, and he is getting hellish destination. So like that, Brahma is indirectly requesting Lord Shiva. So here Prabhupada says the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called the Supreme Will. It is by the Supreme Will that everything is happening. It is said, therefore, not a blade of grass moves without the Supreme Will. So actually this will, Chaitanya Prabhu says, that wherever Prabhupada is using the word will, actually the meaning is actually sanction. The word sanction. So sanction is Upadushta Anumanta. Anumanta is actually sanctioner, gives permission. So that is actually what Prabhupada means, because will is like Lord is not directly willing that somebody should do this or that, but it's happening by sanction. Somebody doing wrong activity, it's not that Lord is willing, but that is happening by sanction, because that fellow is desiring so much. So then sanction. So Upadushta Anumanta. Anumanta is the right word. So will, wherever Prabhupada is using will, not a blade of grass moves without supreme will, actually that means sanction. That's what he Prabhuji tells. That is sanction and not like will, not the word will. You know, so somebody is doing something that is not Lord's will directly, but that is sanction. Just like a child, he wants to get away from father and he wants his own share. He wants to enjoy separately. So he tells to father, father says no, stay, but he ultimately takes money and goes. So is that the will of father? No. But that is the sanction of father. Father sanctioned because that fellow is not listening. So like that, things happen according to Lord's sanction, but not the will. Exactly, that's what he says. Okay, 46th. 46th, no? Yeah. न वै सतां त्वच्चरणार्पितात्मनां भूतेषु सर्वेषु अभिपश्यतां तव भूतानि चात्मनि अप्रतक्तिदीक्षतां प्रायेण रोषोऽभिभवेद्यथा पशुम्.
My dear Lord, devotees who have fully dedicated their lives unto your lotus feet certainly observe your presence as Paramatma in each and every being, and as such, they do not differentiate between one living being and another. Such persons treat all living entities equally. They never become overwhelmed by anger like animals, who can see nothing without differentiation.
Next. पृथग्धिया कर्मदृशो दुराशया परोदयेनार्पितहृद्रुजो निशम् परान्दुरुक्तये वितुदन्ति अरुन्तुतस् तान्मायधिदैव वधान् भवद्विधा.
Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by Providence. Thus, there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you.
Next. 48. यस्मिन् यदा पुष्करनाभमायया दुरन्तया स्पृष्टधिया पृथग्दृशा कुर्वन्ति तत्र हि अनुकम्पया कृपां न साधवो दैव बलात् कृते क्रमम्.
My dear Lord, if in some places materialists who are already bewildered by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Godhead sometimes commit offenses, a saintly person with compassion does not take this seriously. Knowing that they commit offenses because they are overpowered by the illusory energy, he does not show his prowess to counteract them.
Next. Bhavam stupumsa paramasya mayaya durantaya sprishtamati samastadrik taya hatamso anukarma chetasu anugraham kartumiharhasi prabho.
My dear Lord, you are never bewildered by the formidable influence of the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are omniscient and should be merciful and compassionate towards those who are bewildered by the same illusory energy and are very much attracted to fruitive activities.
So here Brahmaji is asking forgiveness. Please forgive these demigods. Please be merciful on them. So then again this Radhagopal Prabhu was telling that Radhanath Maharaj was telling that it is a great benediction on humanity that Lord actually forgives. This quality of Lord of forgiving is a great benediction on the humanity. So that Lord forgives if somebody has done mistake. And that's why the identity card of a Vaishnava is quality of forgiveness. This he was telling. That how we can know who is a Vaishnava? He is forgiving. He is Vaishnava. That is the main quality. So Brahma is begging that please forgive these demigods. Like that. 50. Next. 50. Kuru adharasyo dharanam hatasya bho tvaya samaptasya mano prajapate na yatra bhagam tava bhagino dadhu kuyodhino yena makho niniyate.
My dear Lord Shiva, you are a shareholder of a portion of the sacrifice, and you are the giver of the result. The bad priests did not deliver your share, and therefore you destroyed everything, and the sacrifice remains unfinished. Now you can do needful and take your rightful share.
Mama is asking that you please take the share. Next. Jivatad yajamanoyam prapaddetaakshini bhaga bhrigosmashrunai rohantu pushno dantasya purvavat.
My dear Lord, by your mercy, the performer of sacrifice, King Daksha, may get back his life. Bhaga may get back his eyes, Bhrigu his mustache, and Pusha his teeth.
Hmm. So here Brahma is acting like a mediator. So he told the demigods that you will not be happy because you committed Vaishnava Aparadha. So he is telling them about you should not do Vaishnava Aparadha. And then coming to Lord Shiva, he is telling that you should actually forgive. Please forgive. So he is ideal mediator. Hmm. So mediator tells both the sides. You also, you know, Vaishnava Aparadha आपने करना नहीं चाहिए था demigod से. And then when Lord Shiva is coming, you please forgive them like that. Anywhere else in Bhagavatam you see somebody mediating between the two parties, telling the both parties. Kuvera mediator for, but then he advises yakshas also. Both parties he talks. Somebody like that. Mediator means he will talk to both parties.
Balram ji,
At least I know about Balram to Krishna. Krishna and Rukmini. That incidents come, na? When Krishna actually catches Rukmi, and does that haircut like that. So that time Balram becomes angry on Krishna that you should not do like this. He is like our relative. He chastises Krishna for that. And then he comes to Rukmini and says, see, that is the duty of Kshatriya, like these things happen. So he mediates between Rukmini and Krishna, Balram. And of course, later Balram only kills Rukmi. He's mediator for some time. Any and why you are shooting? Yes, that is there. Yeah, both parties he says. Mediation नहीं है, of course. But he chastises both parties. Mediator का कोई है और? Somebody mediating between two parties. So tell them also that you also don't do like this, and tell them also अब ऐसा मत करो, है ना? दोनों को balance. So Brahma telling to Lord Shiva, please forgive them. Forgiveness means Vaishnava means forgiveness. But demigods is telling you did Vaishnava Aparadha, dangerous. You will never be happy. Don't do again like that. So both parties he is telling. Jai Vijay. In that he glorifies. Actually, there he glorifies Kumaras, Brahmanas, like that. But indirectly, Kumaras understand that something is wrong. He's over glorifying us so much. So we must have. So they feel that they have done some mistake. And then he also speaks to Jai Vijay. And there also he actually tells me they get the indication that they've done something wrong. Yeah. So like that, here Brahma is mediating between both the parties. Then Lord Shiva, then what solution he gives, we'll see. 52. Devanam bhagna gatranam ritwijam chayudhasmabhi bhavatanu ghritanam ashu manyo su anaturam.
O Lord Shiva, may the demigods and the priests whose limbs have been broken by your soldiers recover from the injuries of your grace, by your grace.
53. Eshate rudra bhagostu yad uchishto dharasya vai yagyaste rudra bhagena kalpatamadya yagyahan.
O destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace.
So here, Lord Brahma petitions that please take your share and please revive all these demigods, and they have been injured like that. So in next chapter, we'll see how Lord Shiva, what he does. He actually revives completely those who didn't offend him and who gave him the share. But those who were on the side of Daksha, for them he only partially revives them. उनको किसी का दाढ़ी, goat का दाढ़ी, मूछ, आँख, he is not able to see. He will see through somebody, and somebody's teeth is broken. He will get food from somebody else. So for them, because they were actually in the offense, part of the offense. So for them, they are only partially revived. Other demigods who are not part, they are fully revived. Like that, it will come ahead in the next chapter. So we'll see tomorrow the next chapter, chapter 7th. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll complete it on last day tomorrow, and tomorrow is the last chapter. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.